So today I'm going to show you the 5 daily habits that got me to and keep me under 15% body fat year round. And they do all of that without me having to live like a monk. And no, we are not going to be talking about 10,000 steps a day, tracking your calories, or getting 8 hours of sleep per night, because we have talked about all of the basics like that to absolute death, and you guys all know it. Today, we're going to be covering the more tactical stuff, the stuff which you can copy and paste into your life, quite literally starting today. Because everyone loves to talk about the big meta fat loss habits, the calorie tracking, the walking, the workouts, the sleep, all that sort of stuff. But nobody really talks about what happens when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're low on energy, and when your motivation to do any of that stuff just goes flying out the window. But that is honestly where the real work starts, because getting lean isn't about knowing what to do. It's about what to do when you don't feel like doing any of it. And when you're 4-6 weeks into your journey, that messy middle, that psychological trap, which we've talked about before, is going to kick in. But that is when these small habits that we're going to discuss today, the little things that you can do on autopilot, really start to stack up and really start to compound over time to make a huge difference. So the first habit is actually a question. It's a question that I ask myself every single day, and it's a question I encourage you to ask yourself every single day. And that is what is the one thing you can do to move yourself closer to your goal today? So the origins of this stemmed from my old business. So in 2019, me and a pal of mine called Harry launched a business called the Kaizen movement. Now, Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy which talks about the idea of continuous improvement. It talks about the idea that if you try to be 1% better every single day, that's far better than going all in and then, giving up and running out of gas after 3 weeks or whatever it might be. And this philosophy, this question has stuck with me. And I think when you are facing big goals, when you are trying to climb large mountains, it's very pragmatic and practical and logical to ask yourself this question every single day. And if you ask yourself this question in the morning, it also helps to center you. It helps to remind you what your goal is, why it's important to you, and then it helps you to frame what that one thing might be that you can do to help take steps towards it. And then before you know it, you look up after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 365 days, and you're a lot closer to your goal. So this also just amplifies and supports the notion that we've been talking about a lot over the last couple of weeks, that you want to break your goals down into tiny little daily habits, weekly habits, targets, whatever you want to call it. And so if you ask yourself this question every single day and keep doing this every day, it means that every day you're getting like a little mini challenge. And when you complete that mini challenge, you're going to get a little hit of dopamine. And when you get that hit of dopamine, it becomes very positively reinforcing to help you to keep moving towards that goal. So that's the first habit. The second one is to break the mindless snacking loop. And I quite literally just had a conversation with one of my clients about this, but I'm actually going to give you another story before we talk about it. So I've got a client who I'm working with at the moment called Mike. He might be on the live. Sometimes he joins them. And to be honest with you, he's done a lot of the hard work by himself. He actually messaged me at the end of last year and said he'd been watching my videos for 9 months. He sent me a transformation and he dropped like an insane amount of weight, and he was down to like 12, 13% body fat, but he really wanted to get down to 10% just because it had never done that before. And so I talked to him about it, and I talked about the perils of, going that lean and how difficult it was and how much of a psychological trap it is. And Mike is a dad. He's also a business owner. So I kind of explained to him that the odds were going to be stacked against him, and this was going to be a really hard journey. But he said, no, I'm committed. I want to do it. So I said, cool, let's go for it. And one of the things I said to him on his check-in today is that one of the best things you can do to mitigate hunger and to deal with it when it comes up is to drink more water. And again, this sounds so it's so overly talked about, this habit, but not enough people are doing it. And I don't think people really realize that it only takes your brain to be about 1% dehydrated for it to start shutting off certain processes. So not only are you moving less when you're dehydrated, and we're talking 1% dehydrated, you're also going to feel more hungry, because what your brain's actually telling you to do is to go and put something in your mouth, essentially. So the best way around this is quite literally what I'm doing here, is to keep water right in front of me off camera, and it is in my eye line. It's not sitting on the floor over here. It's not on that countertop over there. It is right in front of me. And if it's right in front of me, I'm naturally going to drink more. And if I'm naturally going to drink more, it's going to keep the hunger at bay, and it's going to stop me from mindlessly snacking. The other component when it comes to snacking is boredom. But most of the time, it's dehydration. So, I mean, if you think about it this way, right? If you are eating 2,000 calories a day, very generic number, which, to be honest with you, not many of you should be eating less than that, as long as you are prioritizing your movement, your NEAT, your workouts, all that sort of stuff we've talked about, because we don't want to be on extreme deficits, as we've talked about many a time. How can you actually be hungry? Like, 2,000 calories is a lot of food, especially if you're eating clean food. If you're eating junk, of course, you're going to be hungry. But that's not to do with the calories that you're eating. That's to do with the nutritional value and the fact that it's destroying your hunger hormones. But if you're eating 2,000 calories of good food, it's pretty hard to see how you could be physically hungry. Psychologically, you might feel like you are, but the reality is you're not. You're probably just bored, or you're probably just dehydrated. So as I say, to not just help with this, but to actually preempt it, make sure that you've got the water in front of you as much of the day as you can. Okay? So that's habit number 2. Habit number 3, I've talked about it before, but I'm going to bang this drum again, and that is the cold shower. And the reason I'm going to bang this drum again is because I told you guys to start doing these on day 4, maybe day 5. But how many of you can honestly tell me that you have done this every single day, regardless of where you've been, regardless of how you felt since then? I'm going to guess it's less than 10% of you. And that's fine. I don't judge. But I honestly cannot tell you of a singular habit that has had a bigger impact on my work output. And my work output is directly proportionate to my ability to turn up for my clients, the amount of money that I earn, my push, how much I can push in the gym. And ultimately, that's what helps me to get better sleep and ultimately just live a better life. So even though it sounds so small and so insignificant and so overly hyped and talked about, I can absolutely assure you that if I had to really, like, if someone put a gun to my head and say, what's the one thing that you've done in the last 2 years that has changed your life? Bearing in mind, I was already doing all of the big basic stuff that we've talked about multiple times, I would have to say it was the cold shower. So if you started doing them and you stopped, or you never started doing them, you are leaving so much on the table. And to give you some proof to context to this, last week I was talking to a guy who's a multimillionaire in the gym, and I managed to convince him to start doing this because we were talking about optimization. He's obviously a super successful guy. And today he literally sought me out in the gym, came up to me and said, thank you so much for giving me that push to do that. He said it had already started to change how he went about his day, because it shifts your mental state, and it shifts your mental state right at the beginning of the day. So that one habit, the 45 seconds, impacts the entirety of your day. It's crazy. Not only that, it makes you grateful. It makes you grateful to put on warm clothes afterwards, and it gets you focused as well. I never look forward to it. I always hate it, and it never gets easier. But I always smile after, guys. And anyone can do it. Literally any single one of you can do it. And people say, yeah, but Doug, I don't like it. That is literally the point. You are not meant to like everything that you do. And if you can suffer through 45 seconds, which, let's be honest, it's 45 seconds, you can suffer through it. I promise you, it is going to shift your entire mental state. It is going to make hard things seem easy. And if hard things seem easy, you procrastinate less. And if you procrastinate less, you get more done. And if you get more done, you build more momentum. And if you build more momentum, you build more consistency. And if you build more consistency, you get to your goals faster. This should be an absolute non-negotiable for every single one of you. If you want to win, do it. If not, good luck to you. Number 4 is the mini walk rule. So people love to give me all kinds of excuses as to why they can't do their 10,000 steps every single day. So what I want you to do, if you're struggling with that, is to reframe it. So it takes the average man 10 minutes to do about 1,200 steps, 1,200. So if you walk for 10 minutes of each of the 8 hours of the average workday, you're going to do 10,000 steps. Now, I appreciate a lot of you are stuck in meetings or on calls. Well, get up and start moving around during those calls or in those meetings. And I promise you, you're going to shift the culture of your company for the better. Yeah, it might get some weird comments at the beginning, but I promise you, after some time, people will be thanking you. And I know this for a fact because about 5 years ago, I was working with a woman who used to run a city council in the UK, in Derbyshire. And under her, management, She had about 300 people. She had 8 direct reports, but the whole city council was about 300 people. And she was at the desk from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., crazy life, jumping around all over the place. You can imagine what it's like. So I said to her, how many internal meetings do you have per week? Internal. And she said, 8. With each of my direct reports, we have a one-to-one catch-up once a week. I said, perfect. That's all we need. What I want you to do is with those internal meetings where you're the authority, you're the manager, I want you to tell them that you're not going to have your camera on, and I want you to walk through the whole of those meetings. She started doing this and started seeing the positive results, not just physically, but mentally as well. And long story short, it became a systemic change through the whole organization. Because she started doing this, her direct reports started doing this. Because they started feeling the benefit of it, her direct reports then started doing it with their teams. And then they started doing it with their teams. And within a couple of months, 300 people, because this was during the P word, which I can't say, in 2020 to 2021, it was during this, they were starting to do this daily. And that not only were they all getting their steps up, they were all losing weight, they were all feeling better about themselves, they were all sleeping better, they were all improving their psychological state. So they all started doing it. So it became a systemic change. And if you bring this into your company, wherever you work, people are going to associate that positive change with you. And as a result, you are going to benefit from it. So there is no excuses. Get up, walk 10 minutes every hour of the day, and you win. Number 5, last but not least, again, we've talked about this, but again, it's so much leverage to it. It's so powerful. I can't believe people aren't doing it still. It's to set a bedtime alarm. So the way I like to think about this, or I'll frame it for you this way, is tomorrow's performance is dependent on tonight's actions. Think about it that way. So as soon as I get done with all of these lives, my phone is on Do Not Disturb. I'm dimming all the lights in my flat. Dinner's cooked, and I'm in chill mode. I'm not allowing any stimulation, any drama, any bullshit, any negativity to enter my world until tomorrow morning. And as I've told you before, in the morning, I don't turn my phone off of Do Not Disturb until 7 a.m., an hour after I wake up. And I'll be honest with you, I don't check WhatsApp until about 9 a.m., after I've done my workout. Because I want to be in the best possible state to greet whatever flood of shit is going to hit me. Because there is normally a flood of shit, and that's fine. That's the world I chose. But I'm not going to go to it until I have put my armor on. And my armor is both mental and physical. Sorry, the other way around. Mental and physical. You've got to protect your energy. You have to do this. It is mandatory. If you want to turn up and give your best to other people, you have to look after yourself. You have to fill your own cup, guys. And the best way you can do that is to give yourself some downtime. In a world where there is 24/7 constant dopamine and stress and all this sort of stuff coming at you from all different angles and problems to be solved and people to be helped and all this sort of stuff, you have to recharge the batteries, guys. So set yourself a bedtime alarm, protect your evenings so that your mornings work better for you. And this also means that when it is time for me to go to sleep, I'm coming out of a fight or flight state where I'm pent up and I'm like, right, okay, let's solve this, now solve this, now solve this. I'm trying to solve 3 problems at once. Okay, this guy's done. Okay, right, cool. Next, onto this one, onto this one. I come out of that and I'm in a more parasympathetic state and I can get to sleep better and I'm sleeping better as well. So I can get to sleep faster and I'm sleeping better. So those are the 5 habits. Just to recap there, we've got, ask yourself the question, what's the one thing that I can do today to help me get 1% closer to my goal tomorrow? That's number 1. Number 2 is to keep a bottle or whatever glass of water in front of you at all times to help break the mindless snacking loop. Number 3 is to have a cold shower every single morning. Number 4 is to do the 10-minute walk rule. And number 5 is to set a bedtime alarm. Let's go over to the chat and see who's here. Cool, we got a short one today. Can't read these. Den Fete. Peter from Sweden here. What's up, Peter? Good to see you, my man. Montana's in the house. Hey, I'm from India. Awesome. Nice to see you, bro. Good afternoon from the train on the way to the north of England. Mr. Bailey, how are we doing, my man? Scott's in town. I have done a cold shower every morning, and I actually start to look forward to them now. Boom. Well, you're ahead of me on that one, brother. Love it. I wouldn't say I look forward to it, but shower every day. Awesome, Paul. Well done. Cold shower 6 of the last 7 days. Love it, my man. Well done. That's brilliant. Fantastic. Cool. Awesome, guys. How was that? Was that useful for you guys? I'm not going to delve into the weather. This is not a weather stream. So tell me if that was useful, guys. And we'll go forward from there. Tomorrow, we are switching things up a little bit. We're going to talk about testosterone. Because testosterone is the precursor for drive, guys. And without testosterone, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to level up and take things to the next level. And that's where I want you to guys be. Whatever level you're at now, I want you to get to the next level. Never settle. Never settle. Never get too comfortable. We always want to ascend to the next level. Another great sermon from Deacon Doug. You are welcome, my man. Thank you very much. Cool, guys. That was a quick one. We wrapped up tonight. I hope you all have a fantastic Monday, wherever you are. And I will see you all tomorrow.